So you've done this for 4 years. I mean,
Right.
What's it like?
It's a real big honor, and I think it's cool to see, how many other athletes, work so hard in the classroom. I think a lot of times people think these people come here to play a sport and they don't really do anything in the classroom. Especially you see that in football. A lot of people think that, guys don't go to class, don't go do anything. But then we have, quite a few guys that have a 3.0 and, averaging a B or better, while doing all the training, doing all the games, doing all the traveling. So it's really cool to see. It's a big honor, but it's cool to see all the other. And we think we had like 692 people.
Yeah, 692
this year.
Yeah.
So it's really just incredible to have that many people.
Yeah, I think this is the most. 40 for you guys on the football team is the most you've had in 8 years. How much does that start at the top with Coach Meyer?
And Coach Meyer really emphasizes the stuff off the field as much, as intense as he is on the field, his off the field is just as intense, really, from our real life Wednesdays, pushing the jobs after and kind of stressing how important the grades are, in order to get a job and get hired after school. I think that really, he pushes us in the classroom and makes sure, we have guys making sure we're going to class, making sure, we have, great advisors at SASO that make sure, our grades are good, getting us the tutors we need. So I think all the resources that he and the athletic department provide really help.
What's the balance for you like at a time like this in the spring where you guys are wrapping up spring camp the final week and, you're obviously here tonight. I mean, what's the balance like for you at this point in the year?
It's a pretty busy time. This last week you really want to focus on practice and getting everything right for the spring game. It's almost like a game week, that you're preparing for. But then you're also kind of pushing into finals in all your classes. So it really is kind of a difficult time, trying to balance everything. At this point in time, and usually earlier in the spring is pretty easy, just with the workouts and kind of focus a little more on class. But towards this week is when it kind of really got to buckle down to finish strong. So
This was the most in 8 years that your team has had here at Buckeye after dinner. Have you seen in your time in the program, have you seen an even greater emphasis on academic success?
Yeah, I think the emphasis has almost always been the same, but I think you can see how many more guys are kind of buying into the culture that the coaches and Coach Meyer provide and try to create, how important it is, all the off the field stuff. Real Life Wednesdays was a pretty big thing when I got here in 2014, but now, it's huge. And, everybody, even on the outside, is talking about our Real Life Wednesday stuff and all the off the field stuff. A lot of people can kind of see now how important it is even on the outside. So,
what do you see yourself doing after football for a career?
So I'm actually waiting for I applied to multiple law schools, so my goal is to go to law school and kind of go into like the IP, intellectual property, technology law, maybe some patents or something. So so that's the goal is to attend Ohio State. So I'm kind of in between, maybe trying to start law school this fall, which will be a little difficult while playing, but might have to do it, or waiting till the year after and kind of figuring out where to go. So.
How much do you feel like being a football player, being a student athlete benefits you now as you kind of look at a career like going into law?
Yeah, I think you learn so many things, and so many people don't realize the things that you do learn. Kind of the life skills from football, the time management and stuff is big for all sports. And I think that really helps, prepare you in the classroom. You can see from the grades that people are getting that they figured it out, how to kind of organize their time to do well in all aspects of their life. So I think that, that one of those things, the discipline to prepare, you're preparing really all year for 12 Saturdays, 13 Saturdays, so kind of the preparation aspect for me too. I kick thousands of balls throughout the year just to kick, maybe 50, throughout the year, ones that really count, so I think the preparation aspect is a big thing.
Is there any specific branch of law that you see yourself going into?
Yeah, like the intellectual property stuff. So I don't know if I want to, patents are pretty specific, but some glorified contract law like copyright and that kind of stuff. So I really want to help facilitate people's ideas, things they create, kind of help protect people and their ideas.
What made you passionate about that? When did you kind of know that's the route you want to take?
So I'd always been in computer science, and I've always been interested in the technology side. And I think over time I just kind of learned, or I don't know if I learned, just kind of found a passion for people that create these ideas, and having the background in computer science. Everything nowadays is in the tech space, really. All the new inventions, all the new ideas. I think having that background will really help, set me up to do well in that field. So, but yeah, just passion to help others. kind of help protect other people's ideas and stuff. So, yeah.
So just this past week, you guys had an attorney, Luke Fedlum, come in. He was talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
I mean, how awesome.
And that's kind of the same kind of stuff that I want to do, and that kind of really hit home to me. And I've talked to him since. He, was kind of talking about coming in and protecting, athletes, specifically their brand. And that's like kind of the exact kind. I don't know if it's athletes really that I want to work with. But it's the same kind of thing, protecting people's brand, their idea, things they come up with. So that was a great presentation.
You're making connections directly for being a high school football player that could benefit you in your career.
Exactly, yeah.
You mentioned one last thing, I guess, for me. This is a football question. Week of the spring game, you mentioned that it feels like a game week.
Right.
What is that like, and what's the preparation been like this week for you guys?
I guess the week has just started. I think it's nice, and everybody, you went through a really hard off season, really hard winter workouts and stuff we go through, and you really don't get a break going into the spring practices. So, it's just a real long off season, and the spring game kind of signifies the end, kind of what you're working towards this whole last 6 months or however long. So, you're really excited, to kind of finish off this semester, but you're also excited, all we've done for the last 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, is hit each other. Not that I really do much hitting, but those guys, all they've done is practice against each other, and you're not going to do. I mean, you're still going to do that in the spring game, but at least you get to showcase, what we've been doing for so long out in the public. Not kind of hidden behind the scenes.